had to play along. because this is the Music is Therapy Laz show, and I guess it's the Music is Therapy show. And I guess we're going to be talking about live music and music as medicine, right? Yes. It's not a joke. It's real. No, in all reality, in all fairness, is at least the reality that I'm part of, the one that I believe in anyway. I think they even say that it's your reality, whatever you believe in, right? But that affects other people's reality too, I think. So it's all connected, and that's another part of it that I'm going to talk about today with you all. I'm going to invite some guests in. It's always the last minute that I get around to getting this stuff done, you know. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. Johnny keeps saying it's a lot of work to do, right? Where is this thing here? We're live, so I've created it. Can't I share it? Should be able to share the show. There's the show right there. I don't need to go into it on my phone. I need to find it on my phone so I can send it by phone to Johnny. All right, how do I get out of here? Let's go back. Let's start over again. StreamYard, not the giveaway tool. StreamYard, make it easier on me, will you? Jeez, you're adding all this stuff, but not doing the things that help my channel. Make it easier for me to do what I want to do. And if you do that, maybe I'll start paying for it. But until then, no, I refuse. It's not better. Just saying. And look at your numbers, and you might see I'm not making things up here. I'm telling you what the reality is and what my reality is. Maybe I ought to connect with you guys too. Johnny connected with you guys. Johnny, connect with those people and try to help them out. I know early on they went to you, but then they sold, right, to somebody else. And I don't know. I think that's what happens, right? Then it doesn't quite work the way we want it to anymore because somebody else took over, and maybe they just want money and don't care about the rest of it, right? The people, the ones that are using it, and the ones, you know, that want to make them money and ourselves and everyone else money. I'm not making any money on this yet, but I have gotten gifts. So I can't say, like I was explaining to my wife this morning, I may not have made any money yet, per se. I did get some money because people have sent me money. They've sent me PayPals. By the way, thank you, everyone that sent PayPals. All of you. I used to have this card that I showed the people that did send money, but it's been a little while. So please help out in that regard if you don't mind. That helps me kind of keep doing what I'm doing and add to what I'm doing and making this a fun and enjoyable experience for us all. Let me go ahead and send to Alex. Oh, there's my daughter Hannah sent a message. Hi, Hannah. He's got to catch the replay, but that was yesterday, I think. I'm going to paste that to, if you're watching, Brent, check your messenger, or should I send it to you in Instagram? See, I send messages and people send me messages in a million different places, and it's hard to track where I should send a message to. That's today's show. I'm putting today's show. All right, there we go. If I had time to do this earlier, I would have, but breakfast was important. It's the most important meal of the day, right? Let me send one to Alex if you want to join, Alex, and then we'll have a nice nice little group here. Oh, we got some messages from the, oh, this pillow is something special. Oh, yeah, interesting. I know. I had a friend who had one of those back in the day, and it really didn't sound that great. I think they're being a little tongue-in-cheek in the use of this thing, but yeah, if I wanted to make my recordings lo-fi for some reason, I guess that would be one way. Exclamation point, LOL. My friend Derek. I had to say, oops, I'm still voice texting him. Let's get back to this. All right. Where are you, Alex? Where do I find you, Alex? Probably Messenger, right? Okay. Where are you? There you are. Okay. Now I found everybody. Oh, did I already send? I'm sending. Yeah, this is yeah. Okay, the last thing I sent to you on Messenger was the link to the last show that you joined. All right, there we are. We've gotten it done. Yay! Now everyone has a link that I invited for today. If they want to join, they can. Today's show is going to be about this very, I think, not an overly done topic, because we've talked about this before, right? We've talked about live music being a really great way to not just experience music, because obviously experiencing it live is the better way by far. Maybe not everyone would agree with that, because maybe you have a higher expectation of what the musical um what it's going to be like. Some people and this is why I brought it up, okay, partially. We went to the David Lee Roth show, so this is what spurred this. But this is always going to be an ongoing topic of music as medicine, right? Music as a form of therapy, and not just like in the how would you call it, the clinical sense, right? In the medical world and the health care, if you want to call it health care, because some of the health care out there could be questionable for its efficacy of care, because it doesn't always work. I have a very positive experience so far with the healthcare system out there, but I haven't always paid for it, because there were years and years as a self-employed person that I just decided not to pay for healthcare because it was extremely expensive and I felt unnecessary for the relative level of health that I was in. I felt if I had any little emergency or something, which I did on occasion need something taken care of, I went to immediate care and I paid for it out of pocket, and it cost me a hell of a lot less than paying into a system that I think presently is pretty broken. And I'm not the only person that would probably voice this opinion. And I'm a big advocate for national health care like it's available for most other what you would call civilized, or no, okay, let's not even use the word civilized, industrialized and capitalistically funded uh nations, administered governmental peoples with a border that find a way to pay for a basic healthcare universally, so you don't have to stress about I'm gonna die if I don't have a job because I don't have healthcare. You know what I mean? And I think that's what causes a great deal of stress to a lot of us in the United States, and why I advocate a lot for music as a form of stress relief, anxiety relief, a lot of other reliefs that it offers. Not to mention that a lot of the people that I meet and go to shows with are pretty chill and fun people to hang out with, and that has a lot to do with, I think, the very nature of live music goers, if you want to call it that. People that attend a lot of live music, where we appreciate live music for what it is, not just as the live interpretation of the music some artists recorded. Prior to recording it, they probably created the music, maybe with their friends, whoever they were doing the music with, or the band that they created to make music with, to make it a money-making endeavor or some way of life, a way to live, like David Lee Roth did. He found a way, man. He found a way to find the best happiness and create the best reality he could create for himself, in the way he wanted to live his life. And that's what I saw on display Friday night, second to the last show of this summer, first time out of retirement David Lee Roth show, what he called the Roth Show. Okay. And from what I understand, this Roth show was a Van Halen thing. So he did talk about how this was going to be kind of his Van Halen, kind of his response to Sammy's, Best of All Worlds tour. This was his kind of personal response to that, so that he can say farewell in his own way to his friend Edward, right? Who he was friends with for a good part of his life. I'm hoping at the end they were friends. I don't really know. Johnny Bean, if he wants to jump in the show, he can let us know more of the Van Halen details that I'm not as expert at, and I don't plan to be. There's just not enough brain cells left to honestly be worth wasting on that kind of stuff people argue about. Right? Let's say hi to the people at the chat. Now we've been running my mouth here for a good 14 minutes, which I do well, according to many people I know. Maybe I don't do it right, but I do it well. I keep it going, right? Ah, yes, my morning cup of yellow submarine juice, aka coffee, via Starbucks, medium roast Colombian. It's my favorite roast. All right, so let's see what we got going on. We'll start at the newest. We got Carlos, and what's up? I hope a new subscriber, Carlos, because I can use a little push toward that 1,000 this year. Because honestly, this is the third year I'm pushing for 1,000, and you guys, I'm serious, man. My wife might not let me to do YouTube anymore if I don't break 1,000. If I don't break 1,000, because I want to monetize when I hit 1,000. How about we make that my goal? Monetize when we hit 1,000. Maybe monetizing first might help me get to 1,000. Oh, the internet. Oh, maybe connecting via direct with a cable to my computer would also help me get to 1,000 because I'm obviously not streaming as strong as I should be. No jokes, please, from the Ghostbusters type. But here we got BC Rich also in here saying, I was thrilled to break 100, right? I'm thrilled to be at where I'm at too, to be honest, but I don't know how many videos you've made, how much money you've spent on gear, have all this stuff if it wasn't for wanting to do the shows, because you got to have the stuff and you got to show the stuff. And, there are many people that have said, don't pay your way into YouTube because you'll go broke, and they're not lying. But I've been kind of careful about, for the most part, how I spend my money on gear, and I try to buy stuff at a lower price than what I think the actual value is. And even now, recently, like Phil McKnight said, he's seen about a 20% dip in the value of his stuff that he has on Reverb versus where it was 6 months or a year ago. And it has nothing to do with who's in charge in the administration and all that stuff. It has to do with where we are as buyers, Maybe it has a little something to do with that. It has something to do with buyers. Like Henning did talk, had an interesting rant this morning. I love his rants. First thing I listened to in the morning this morning was his rant about how you can buy Fender products in Europe, in Germany, where he lives, cheaper than in the United States. In other words, the same stuff, further away from where it's made, except for the stuff made in Asia, right? Cheaper in Germany than we can buy here. But I mentioned to him, except the used stuff, because we got a smorgasbord of used gear that is just out there waiting for you all to buy and spend on, instead of buying the new stuff, that the shining, gleaming new thing. One of those things did catch my eye today. I finally pulled the trigger on it because I've been thinking about a King of Tone type pedal for quite a while, and had to pull the trigger on one. So, but Henning talked about, how Fender, you can buy Fender products cheaper in Europe, new. He's talking about new product, cheaper than if you, in Germany than if you lived in the United States. And I think it's, I don't know, it has to do with the tariffs and the taxes and this and that, but probably a little of all, right? So let's say hi to other people in chat. Like L&M Guitar Corner Martin, I'll take notes during the stream then. If you can't make it to the stream, please just leave a comment and I'll make a note. Don't have something to write me on. Yeah, take notes. It is a recorded thing, and you can actually go in and clip things. And I highly suggest it. I do that on a lot of podcasts I watch. I clip sections that are really pertinent to what I want to refresh myself on. And I actually put those clip things into like a note thing on my phone, or I'll actually email them to myself, because then I'll know the date that I was watching it, usually the date that podcast hit, which, by the way, this is a podcast. I don't have to say it's a podcast because, like Phil McKnight said on Friday, everything that's online where you're talking is a podcast. So guess what? It's not a rattlesnake, but this is podcast. So if you're not watching and you heard that, you thought, oh no, Laz is about to get bit by a rattlesnake. No, that is a shaker that I bought in Peru. Very cool, right? Anyway, take notes if you like. I prefer to try to use technology. 2 reasons for me to hope you'll be there. Oh, is there? Oh, are you going to what? Okay, I'm talking about our next week stream on. Oh yeah, Wednesday. We're going through what to take and look at. Oh, dude, I'm totally in on that. Okay, Wednesday. Count me in like Flynn. Send me a link. I'll love to be in on that chat because I was there, as they said. And so back to the topic, Johnny Bean and I were there at a live show last night the night before last, at the David Lee Roth, Diamond Dave, the Roth show. And he did all, the greatest hits of his era, I think, for the most part, what Johnny called the 6-pack, typically, or 12-pack. It might have been just 6 songs because he would extend some of those like to 20 minutes almost. Joking a little bit. Some of those were actually rather, some of them actually did go almost 15 minutes. Rich, as a matter of fact, recorded the entire event. Yeah, so Beast Rich, is Maybach there? Yeah, Maybach. Is it Maybach or Maybach? Maybach. It's my back. All right, Small Builders Conference. Yeah, they have big and small builders at that place, man, and it's quite the event. I really enjoyed my time at the one day I had, not even a full day that I had at. And the last day is always the worst, right? Because people are tearing down early. Nobody wants to stick around and hang out and go out and drink beers and stuff. Anyway, next time I go, I'm going to go for all 3 days. Good morning, Peggy. Yeah, music is definitely the best. Yeah, stress reliever there is. Absolutely, man. And then there is going to be this show. So check out that show. L&M Guitar Corner is featuring it. He does have a wrench, so he can post whatever he wants. And shameless plug, there's no shame in it. Plug away, my friends. Plug it. If you have a channel, plug it. That's how we grow this stuff, right? That maybe I'll get to 1,000 if I do more of that. Everybody share each other's channels and help each other grow. That's a good thing, right? Greasy Monkey also in the house. What's up? And join if you want, Alex. I sent you a link, so jump in if you can. I'm watching it. Oh, the 49er game. That's why. Okay, so you got one eye on the game and one ear on Laz here. Go Niners. They won that last game. Was a toughie. Yeah, man. All right. Rhodey's Jam Cave. Dude, what's up? I'm sorry if I haven't watched some of your stuff too. I gotta spread my time around on stuff a little bit more, but it's tough. It's tough around work. And I like to listen to other stuff too, like Michio Kaku that I mentioned in the description. So one of the things I mentioned in the description is I'll show it to you guys if I can find it. Michio Kaku short talking about music as part of string theory. Yeah, here it is. Is he talking about music now? Oh, wait a minute. The universe is a symphony. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, here we go. Let me get this up over here. Tell me if you guys can hear this or not. The missing theory. Oops. Let's go back to the missing paradigm, the missing theory, the missing idea is music. Music of tiny particles. If I had a super microscope and I could peer into an electron, I would not see a dot at all. I would see a rubber band. And as the rubber band vibrates at a different frequency, it changes into a neutrino. It changes again into a quark. In fact, all the hundreds of subatomic particles that we've seen are nothing but different vibrations of the same string. So physics is the harmonies you can write on these strings. Chemistry is the melodies you can play on interacting strings. The universe is a symphony of strings. And the mind of God is cosmic music resonating through hyperspace. That is the mind of God. Isn't that amazing? I love that. I love that. Michio Kaku. Yeah, man. Oops, wrong button. I wish this one worked like this one, where as soon as you push the right button, it goes right to it. This one does that. The German one is better. How is the German one better? Well, not always. Anyway, so Michio Kaku, Michio, right? Michio Kaku, the famed physicist, American. Oh, I make some jokes about the American stuff, and rightly so. Darn it, you know. We think we're so great, but sometimes we got to humble it down a little bit and learn from others, right? Michio Kaku is a pretty smart guy, and he's somebody who took out the power grid while in high school doing a science experiment during the summer. You don't even want to know what he was trying to do. I don't think he was trying to make a time machine, but I think he made some kind of I think it was some kind of a nuclear thing or something like. I think basically he something like that. Anyway, maybe like a atom smasher, a small version in his garage. Rico B. We were talking about you on the Johnny Show last night. Rico had some great things to share. Boomster Black, what's up, dude? So we got 16 people in here. Thanks for joining, you all. I think I said hi to pretty much everyone. Johnny says he was there, and that's what it's all about. It's about being there, being be in the now, be there, and being in a musical environment when musicians are playing live, whether you're participating or not. Okay, but participating is even that next level, right? And then you're really connecting, not just with the music, but the musicians. You're vibing, you're connecting, you're all on the same, when you're like, they were tight. When you're like Dave that night, man, he was having a great time, and he was so connected with the group and the band, and irregardless of his vocal abilities not quite there anymore, so what? I was happy to finally see Diamond Dave live, even in his late stage of life. And you could tell that late stage of life is getting to him up here too a little bit, because he doesn't want to accept his age. I'm like that too. I don't want to accept my age. I'm turning on 60 next year, and I have a hard time accepting that I'm old and it's all going to be over someday soon. My Uncle Joe passed away in his mid 60s, and it was a shock to the whole family. It was an aneurysm, boom, gone. Some people are like that early in life. They could be just boom, gone. So I guess the point is that, make the best. And he was talking about this quite a bit on Johnny Show. I talked about it too, when I, was on there for a bit, that, life is short. This experience that we are experiencing, this consciousness that we're part of, whether it's our individual consciousness, but I believe there's a connected consciousness that we have, and it's universal. It's throughout the entire universe. I honestly believe that. It must be true, because otherwise none of this stuff makes sense, right? That makes the most sense to me. And the bottom line is that connecting with each other and connecting with that consciousness, that overall greater consciousness, is one of the most important things we can achieve and participate in life. And live music is probably the best way I've found so far. There's lots of ways. I've participated in other human and other, conscious endeavors, and even some unconscious at a point endeavors that were memorable, and some I've forgotten, of course. But I experienced them nonetheless, and maybe it's important to the overall consciousness of the universe, in some way, shape, or form, right? And maybe I don't remember it, but maybe somebody else does. And David Lee Roth was talking quite a bit about this, and he was really connecting with that crowd, and I think the crowd was really connecting with him too. I think it was a really great crowd. It was a Friday night, so that helps. At a winery, can't hurt. The atmosphere, the environment was very Northern California, very Bay Area, okay? mixed crowd, young and old, mostly old, but all kinds of people from all shapes and sizes and whatever. And most of them were shaking it and having a good time. They were dancing and singing along and woo. And I mean, how often do you go to a show nowadays that has a seat for everyone? And pretty much 90% of the people, pretty much 100% of the time, are standing and not sitting in their seats, right? You go to most of these shows and the people are sitting down most of the time. The Toto show, okay, it's yacht rock, mostly seated, sitting. Some standing, especially when they say stand up, Ozzy would tell people to clap their hands just to get them, because he liked the connection with the people, to be involved in it and clap their hands. It wasn't like he was trying to order them. I used to take it negatively, like, why are you telling us what to do, Ozzy? Are you trying to order us around? the Prince of Darkness. Does that mean I'm a follower of yours? No. Anyway, but I understood later, really, it's about the connection, man. And David Lee Roth was so connected with that audience on Friday night, and he could feel it. And so he cried at one point, man, because he was telling stories. He was opening up, I don't know if he does that on all the shows. I don't think it was scripted, at all. I think some of the stuff, it was kind of funny though. He was saying like, what's the next song? Like, what song are we doing? As soon as it starts, they're like, oh, okay, I know it now. And thankfully he still knows the words to his songs. Hint to some people out there that can't even hold on to that anymore, that are younger. Didn't go to that show for that reason. But the thing is, man, live music it's relevatory. It's like a relevation of sorts. It's like you get connected and viscerally connected. Your whole mind and body and the whole thing, the soul, the spirit, the mind, body, soul, spirit thing, it's all connected. And the music has so much to do with that, you all. If you don't believe this to be true, read some books. If you read like I do, like Daniel Levitin's, book. Like here's another one. This is next on the list to read, but I'm going through the other one and making notes and whatnot. But I heard there was a secret chord, right? Music as medicine. That's right, man. That's what we're talking about right now. You want to hear some praise? Here we go. Let's see. Paul McCartney says, for many years, I've wondered why a bunch of frequencies organized into a piece of music has the ability, even without words, to make the listener cry and become emotional. Although I know this happens to me and many people, I have often wondered how this can be. Dr. Levitin, in this latest book, I heard there was a secret chord, Music as Medicine, has some fascinating insights into this great phenomenon. And, he's not, oops, I pushed the dog bark button. Let's hit that. Deserves a laugh. David Levitin is not just a recording producer of fame from the 70s era, right, in the 60s. He's somebody that early in his life felt, this connection and thought it was important at a point in his life, once he reached a certain level of success in the music industry, that, you know what, I'm going to go back to school and finish a degree and get a PhD in psychology and music therapy and learn about, neuroscience. And he's a neuroscientist, and with some of the best and biggest colleges and universities in the United States, if not elsewhere. And learned, and has written many bestseller books on subjects, as well as studies, been involved in studies and at I forget exactly what university where he works presently, but continues to do studies on neuroscience and the brain and music to prove to the world that music is an excellent form of medicine, medical therapy, to use that therapy instead of drugs and things that actually harm us, though they help us too. Maybe in combination with some music, it'd be less of that and cuts the cost to the hospitals and cuts the cost to the person's body, their liver and other things, right? If we can find other ways to be healthy, without having to use things that can harm us, that are like drugs or chemicals, then shouldn't we? You know? And there's some stupid arguments about how music is bad for you. I think those people probably could use a little more music in their life, and maybe not just the kumbaya kind, you know who I'm talking about. Anyway, the people that like to point fingers at musicians as if they're the cause of the problem, when um, at very worst, maybe a probable, but most likely not, uh, uh, what would you call it, correlation to someone doing some behavior because of music they're listening to. It's nuts, just nuts. Sorry. One of the reasons why I couldn't full-heartedly back certain Democrats, I've always been an independent, because of sometimes where they'll take a stance on some of these things that just don't make any rational sense to me whatsoever. Anyway, but the bottom line is, just to get votes, by the way, the bottom line to me is that if something like music, which, what does it cost you, right? In comparison, like putting headphones on with a little MP3 player for people in hospitals that have Alzheimer's or dementia or other, whatever reason they're there, old folks' homes, people in hospitals, it helps them recover. It actually brings them back to life when they're like catatonic, because they don't feel there's a purpose for them in life, because for whatever reason they got put into this almost prison like, almost like solitary confinement of sorts, situation in a hospital, or whatever you want to call these old folks' homes. It's demeaning. You take away their purpose in life. They're not even part of the family anymore. And no wonder they just want to be catatonic and die, But you pop a little MP3 player with some cheap headphones on the ear, and they're like, da, 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 singing along like my dad. You guys want to see my dad? Let me show you how it affected him. I know, Michio. We got you already. Let's see if I could find it real quick. I got it in my folder here. Yeah, all right, here we go. This is me. I had a keyboard there so that every time I could go there, I could play for him. But that wasn't the only reason I had the keyboard there. I knew that he could turn it on and push the buttons. And this was probably the best part of his day, whenever he got to do this, when his wife would let him have it. Okay, hold on. All right, let's do another one. Let's do. Okay, push the red button over there then. Yeah. Oh, you know that one. Oh, one less change. Yeah, hey. Yo, come on. Yo, okay. Yo. Aflatul troszkę. Akkor intézek valami munkát itt a környékben, és akkor egy fél napig ott leszek, akkor ide jövök. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. Okay. We're just talking about the next doctor appointment. You can play to the song too, Dad. Here, let's try another one. Here, push the red button again. It's a new song. Ooh, what's this gonna be? Oh, Yankee Doodle. You know that one? Here, you can play. See that? That's awesome, huh? Oh, the second part. The second part is coming. Now it's on the black notes. It goes on for a little longer, but I think that kind of encapsulates it, right? Thank you, Dad. for all the music, man. He used to love music, man. He loved to sing along, and he'd like hit the notes, but never the right ones. Well, that was supposed to be oh, jeez, this arm sometimes doesn't go where I want it to go. Hold on. There we go. I tightened it so it doesn't keep sliding down. All right. But yeah, my dad, if it wasn't for music, I don't think he would have lasted as long as he did after he got diagnosed with cancer, especially the first year of summer COVID. And then when they diagnosed him with that, we had him checked out for other stuff. Obviously, you know, he was clearly, to me, he was already clearly 10 years before that already showing signs of Alzheimer's and maybe even dementia, because he went on what I call his dementia drive. Got in the car, he was supposed to go across the freeway to Kaiser, literally a quarter mile away. Somehow got stuck in the lane that took him on the freeway, or he just forgot where he was going, and he just was going with the traffic and just kept going on the freeway and just kept going and going and going. Finally, he pulled off by the time he got right near the foot of the Richmond Bridge, because I doubt he ever went there much, and probably recognized nothing and said, where the hell am I? I better stop at this point, and got off the freeway and asked for some help at a gas station. Luckily, there was like a Holiday Inn type kind of residence inn or something next door, and they sat him over there, got him a bowl of soup. And by that time, I was already on the Bay Bridge, kind of intuitively tracking down, deductive reasoning, tracking down where he might have started to go to, because he wasn't at any of the other places I thought he might go and went to, and looked already everywhere and didn't see him. And then when I was on the bridge, I got a call from his second wife, Gabby, that he's at this place near the Richmond Bridge, the foot of the Richmond Bridge. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm already on the Bay Bridge, so I'll be there in like 15, 20 minutes, you know. And I got there just as the sun was setting and was able to see him. He was very disoriented and felt, you know, kind of bad that he didn't know what was going on, scared, you know. And I'm sure very happy I found him, you know, and I had the time, because I worked for myself, and I took the time to go find him, and I found him. And I wasn't going to leave it up to the police or someone else to find my dad. I'm finding my dad, and I found him. Got him home in his car, left my car there, and then found my way back to my car. I can't remember how we ended up getting back there to get my car. Probably my mom or my sister or somebody helped me. And but you know, if it wasn't for music, he wouldn't have lasted this long. That's for sure. And I think the final days were actually because he was being put into a home, kind of a medical situation, like a hospital kind of place, more often as his wife's health started to deteriorate, and she was going to the hospital more. Whenever she couldn't take care of him and they couldn't take care of him, they put him in that place. And I think that's where, at that point, he just decided, I'm done. I don't want to be here no more. and you know, if you don't want to live anymore, you're not going to live anymore. And even though I did visit him not long before that happened, my friend Brent actually was there, and it was thankfully that was one of the times I actually did a live Zoom meeting or live stream thing, you know, phone call, video call with everybody in the family, even Hannah. So for some reason, I must have sensed it, you know, and it was really good that everyone, even even his ex, my mom, his first wife, you know, talked to him a little bit, you know, saw him and said hi and stuff, you know. So, you know, that was a year ago, a little over a year ago. And yeah, I mean, you know, as we go through our arc in life, right, there are these moments that we look back on, we remember, and music is one of those things that connects us to those memories. One of the reasons why I think a lot of the people were so well connected with each other at that Roth show, and why Roth was so connected with everyone else, because they understood something, that, hey man, we're still here, you know, we're still loving this life and enjoying each other's company out here. and we want to share that love with each other, and sometimes we want to share our anger or share our whatever it is, frustrations. He was actually, you could see he was angry and frustrated about certain things. I think he was definitely upset that he's getting old and he's aging out of this life at some point sooner than later, and there's not as much that he can do as he used to be able to do, and that certain things are coming to an end, and you're getting closer to that point in life, right, where it's over, at least this experience of it, right? And suddenly you're starting to get contemplative on all these things and trying to understand how it all works, and some people get rather upset with the fact that it's going to be over and they don't want it to be over. I'm going to be kicking and screaming every step toward the grave too, right? Hey, Peggy, saying hi to L&M. Yeah, that was great, right? Brent was there for some of that, man. He was my partner in that, Thank you, Brent, for taking part in that, dude. Good friends. That's what good friends do, right? He didn't have to go, he came along for the ride. Every time we went down there, we turned it into some kind of a fun event where we'd go visit some other friends or take part in some other event of some sort. Another sip. I could use a second cup. That's my first. Yeah, James E. What's up, James? So Boomster Black shares that my mom went out to the jazz at 90 in her sleep. Perfect, right? This is why my ultimate dream, you all, this is one of my ultimate dreams. I have many. I have like 1,000 things at least that I want to do. Life is too short for everything I want to do in it. There's not enough time in the day for it all. And I'm not going to, it's hard to choose. That's the thing. But one of my dreams is to have an old folks home for rockers. It's going to be a rock and roll old folks home. And if the nurses and the doctors don't like it, they're not hired. I'm not hiring those doctors. I'm hiring the doctors who get it, who want to come to a facility where we treat each other like family. And it's not just like some medical, clinical, diagnosed, give a pill, push a button, stick a needle crap. That's not, damn it, that's not healthcare. That might be what they call medicine. It's not healthcare. It's not medicine. It's not. It's a poor excuse for it. It's an old way of thinking of how we treat people. These medical hospital things, they're based off of kind of like a military style thing, because those were the first really organized, military style organized hospital kind of triage and then hospital kind of thing. And I think a lot of people, I'm not blaming the people that work there as much, but there's a reason why Dr. Dean Adele quit being an eye surgeon, because the system quit him. You know what I mean? And people give in to the system. And I push back on that hard. I think the system needs to be pushed back on regularly. This is what our purpose is, at least, in I guess any kind of organized human endeavor. We all ought to be pushing for what we think is the best thing. And I don't think we're always getting what we're paying for. And we ought to always push for it. If we're buying something, buy it from the people that treat you right. Don't buy. I buy from Stu Mac and Sweetwater and even Guitar Center now, and even small mom and pops. I buy from the places that treat me right and use the money that they profit from in a better way. I stopped buying from some places now because I'm not happy with how those who are becoming billionaires off of this are just abusing the system that they've created even more to make even more profit, and don't care what the fallout is to the rest of humankind, and I have a problem with that. I don't think, it's all for the good. So James, what do you say here? I grew up with music before I was born, right? Yeah, my mom would put LPs on for me and my oldest sis, looking back, running around the house, singing music, lots of fun, aka enjoyment. Yeah, right? That's connection. That's like the kind of community I grew up with, always had music in it. There was never not music. There was always music. And that's what's so strange to me when sometimes my sweetie I come home and it's quiet. And for me, it's like bizarre, because if I was doing the things she's doing at that moment, I'd be listening to music, because music kind of keeps you going and helps you go. And, and it's kind of a good way to have your spirits, going in a positive way when you're doing some menial task or something like laundry or dishes or whatever. I always got the earbud in or listening to it on the TV or whatever. For the most part, I usually like it not in my ears, but sometimes I can hear better, like when I'm doing dishes. That's so noisy that I prefer to listen to a podcast or listen to music in one of my ears, so I can hear from the other side if there's something else going on. But I take advantage of how music is a positive enforcer of your chemistry and everything in your body and mind and all that, right? It's a positive thing. So we're coming to the end. We got a few more. Let me see if I missed any chats. My mom went out. Yeah, I read that one. Yeah, right. Senior citizen home. Say what you really mean. Old farts home, right? I think old farts have a lot to give, and especially when it comes to their connection with the little ones, right? If you see how old people are with young babies and toddlers and children, they're it's so great. It's great for the child, and it's great for them, and especially if it's their own family. But it can be any children for the most part, unless they're demented old farts. Then you don't want them anywhere near your kids. So maybe a little of a little pre-test of sorts, right? Or just overseeing, right? But yeah, we talked about the Zappa thing. We saw that. That's cool. Yeah, definitely. Frank Zappa is one of the most genius, musically gifted people, and not just gifted in the sense like he's born with a gift. I mean that he took what he had as a gift, and found a way to build on it, And whatever roadblock came in front of him, he said, "Get out of my way. I'm going to show you what it's about." I love that about him. Love that about it. And his son's killing it out there too, man. Yeah. Yeah, my mom actually played the piano quite a bit, I'm sure, when she was pregnant with me. And my dad had a record player and played music all the time. He loved to dance and la 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 la, sing like that, like in that video I just played. I don't know if it's complacency as much. I think that we're busy with life and we're trying to make it in life, and we have families and other complex issues we have to deal with, and sometimes we're just tired and we just want it to be simple, and I think that's the reason why we become what you might call complacent, is because we're going to go like water, the easiest path we're going to take. And to our detriment sometimes, because it takes us sometimes in a bad direction, right? I don't think it's that simple. Like we're stupid, complacent people. I think that underestimates our individual and even collective intelligence. But I think there has been a dumbing down of society because of the lack of education, funding for decades. And think about this too. What was one of the things they pulled out of schools back when they were defunding schools decades and decades ago? And I'm talking about nationally, and federal dollars for and that kind of thing, right? They defunded music, part of music as a form of education. They got sports. Oh, that matters, but music affects us intellectually on a level that helps us learn much more than sports do. I'm sorry, I'll argue this point with any sports person. Let's go. Show me your evidence and I'll show you mine. I'm not trying to win you over or beat you at it. I'm just telling you that you're just not educated enough about the fact that music affects and lights up the brain in ways that nothing else does, because it's so primary to our evolution. Sound and frequency, like Michio Kaku is telling you all, and try to learn from this guy if you can, that this is the universe, is bands of frequencies of molecules, and even the smaller parts of these molecules, the strings. If that's the best theory we have so far of how and everything's working the way we see it happening. Things pop in as strings in and out of existence, it's fascinating. If you can wrap your mind around some of this stuff, it's fascinating, and it's not so hard to fathom, like maybe it is for some, All right, let's try to be fair, because you gotta get to a certain point of understanding about how science and how these theories work. In other words, these theories are based on knowledge of data that we've collected through the senses we have and tools we've created to better assess these bits of data that we've learned, so that we can then find solutions for problems or discover and, let's say, theorize or invent and then prove how something is working or how it appears to be working based on all these things, right? Or senses and tools and data and blah, blah, blah. AI, the reason why everyone's so hot on AI is because of most smart people out there who made some smart decisions for the most part in their lives, are pretty damn certain that AI is going to help us towards a better understanding of these things, and our use of AI as a tool. And I don't even like the term artificial intelligence. It's dudes, it is our intelligence that is data-based and trying to be compiled and used by some kind of algorithmic or otherwise supercomputer or whatever we programmed it, and now it's programming itself and learning on its own, doesn't make it. It's not its own intelligence. It's not artificial. We've created it. It's real. It's a real intelligence. It's learning machines. It's machine learning. It's all these things. Okay. General AI is another thing. The point is the word's the wrong word for it, right? But it's what caught on, just like black hole. Okay, maybe that was a pretty good word for it because it's black and it seems to be like this it's a hole that sucks stuff into it. But maybe there could have been a better word for it, like gravity well, or gravity point, or whatever. But how a black hole operates, is fascinating because of its gravitational pull is warping space-time, and that is something that we're still trying to wrap our minds around. But there's some smart people that have got a pretty good, they got some good ideas on how it's working and why, and maybe it explains quite a bit, and they've had some great discoveries recently on this. So I'm a strong believer in trusting to a degree, okay, the science that we've developed over the last century or more, because especially in the last couple of centuries and more, we've really made some major leaps and bounds. And computer technology, especially, the better you can understand how computer technology can help you. I think you'll be able to use it as a tool, period. That's it. Simple as that. Use it as a tool. Johnny's been using it quite a bit. I think Henning got a little bit of flack for his AI generated thumbnail this morning because he was talking about Fender guitars, and the two pictures of the Fenders clashing against each other had a lot of mistakes in it in the AI generated picture. First off, neither guitars look like a Fender, really, if you look closely enough. If you don't know anything about Fender guitars, you wouldn't know. But then you'd think those are Fenders, and then you'd be totally thrown off. So, one of them had a output jack on the left-hand side versus the right-hand side on a right-hand guitar, even though the controls were on that side. But the controls were all wrong. The bridges and where the bridges were and where the pickups were and what the pickups and everything was wrong. The shape of the guitar and the neck and everything was wrong on these guitars. But Henning still used it because I got to get it done and do it fast, and good for him, I don't blame him. I mean, dude, I guess maybe he needs some more interns to help him create the photos instead of using AI. But I think I think he's also experimenting and using AI, and I think he's okay with taking some flack from the peoples out there. As a matter of fact, the American flag was backwards, right? Flipped like this, and it had 9 stripes instead of 13, which is wrong. Because I'm an American, I know. That's not the right number they're not even in the right spaces, and it's off. So the flag is wrong. So I made the comment, it should be upside down too, just to represent the present situation. Oh, that's my opinion anyway. Maybe other people disagree. Yeah, Carlos B. Yeah. And music does inspire athletes, right? And visualization is another thing that, with music, and visualization can really help with. And that's all about manifesting your reality with, using your conscious mind to manifest your reality. That's what you're doing when you're doing all these things. You're manifesting your reality that way. It's not like, oh, manifesting reality means I'm gonna win the lotto today and then you win it. But you know what? I won this because I believed I was gonna win it. I just believed it. And I believed it strongly enough that that first day of NAM, I knew I had to be there before the drawing was going to occur. I knew the time because they had it, I keep getting messages here. What's the messages about? Stop messaging me. Let's see. Johnny says he's driving. Okay, thank you. What's the other message? Nothing there. Oh my God! It's probably yeah, it is. It is the Memorex group all getting ready for today's show at 1:00. From 1 to, I keep getting burps. From 1 to 2. From 1 to 2, I'm going to be playing keyboards at the Metal Matinee at the Pine Street Bar in Livermore. So if you're in the area, you want to check out some rock and music. Today, from 1 to 6, there's going to be all kinds of cool music. As a matter of fact, there should be... Where is the latest... you know what? I think I downloaded it. Let me look in my photos here. In downloads. Downloads, where are you? Where are the downloaded shots? It's not in that one. Where could it be? It's not here at all. What the heck? What if I go to screenshots? Maybe I screenshotted it. This is what I can't stand sometimes, when there's so many ways of sending people stuff nowadays that I can't keep up with where people are sending. Whereas back in the day, you had 2 ways of getting information. Okay, 3, 4. Radio, TV, a letter in the mail, or a phone call. 4 ways. And they were all relatively quick enough for your needs, for the most part. But now we got the internet, and there's like 1,000 ways, and it's just too much sometimes. So this is the Gallagher's one, September 21. Okay, we need something a little more. What about September now? Today. September now. Oh, it's so annoying. I can't find anything in here anymore. Maybe it's here. Gallagher's. So it's again the Gallagher's pub one. Okay, I'm gonna message these guys. Can somebody send me hello? Please send me a recent card of today's Pine Street show so I can share it on my personal media. I can't seem to find it in all the threads of all the different ways of communicating with all you people. Is it nuts or what? Or am I just nuts? I can't do that, Dave. I can't do that, Dave. Dave, is there somebody named? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. You guys are great. I love that. Lost in Space too, right? Yeah. If I could, I would ask how. Right. 2001 Space Odyssey. Well, didn't he learn his lesson in the end in 2010? And I have 3001. Where's 3001? I have 3001 Space Odyssey. I think that's the next level. Robot B9, right? I want to be Robot Laz. I don't really want to be, but if I die, like my human body dies, and my only other choice to continue my consciousness knowingly continue my consciousness, or maybe I should just let the universe do what it... Oh, that's what'll happen. See, that's probably what's going to happen. If I just let the universe do it. I mean, you see what's going on out in the universe, right? Should I just let the universe do it? If I could choose, I would want a robot body that feels, tastes. It'd basically be, but see, that would be unfair to all the other consciousnesses out there. Or is it? Why? If there's a multiverse out there, like Michio Kaku says, all right, and there are multi probabilities of all kinds of everything out there. Why can't I have a robot body that lives forever, that I can live in and just experience it all and be part of that consciousness forever with that robot body? And it could be even more than a robot body. I'll be like V'ger, just going through the universe and just taking over and cloning planets and everything. It's like, oh my God, channel. Yeah. Whole Foods and DLR is playing on. Oh, you're at Whole Foods and DLR. I mixed DLR and foods, and I said fluids. That's hilarious. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing with AI. It's good at making things up, but bad when it comes to targeted facts. And this is extremely dangerous. Yeah, right? When people start to substitute research with questions to the AIs, Well, I did put a question to AI. Let's see what it answered about today's subject. How about that? How about we test that theory? I was looking up something on, okay, how does rock music affect the brain? Is that what I was looking at? Yeah. All right. AI says, this is an AI overview on Google. They say rock music can have a variety of effects on the brain, depending on the individual listener and the specific characteristics of the music. Positive effects, because originally I was thinking about the pros and cons of music on the brain. Yeah. Positive effects: emotional regulation. Rock music can evoke strong emotions such as excitement, joy, and catharsis. This can help listeners cope with stress and improve their mood. Another positive effect: cognitive function. Studies have shown that listening to rock music can enhance cognitive abilities such as memory and attention. Another positive effect: reward system activation. Rock music can stimulate the brain's reward system, releasing neurotransmitters like dopamine and endorphins. This can create feelings of pleasure and addiction. And if you're at a concert like the one last night and it's in the Bay Area and it's legal, you might have substances in the air that can also affect and stimulate your brain. And then we have cognitivity, cognitivity, a new word. Creativity. This is what I'm calling I think I sent it to him. I think I was messing with the play on words of ebonics, and I decided to call it Henning, I guess, right? Henningonics or Henonics or Henionics, that's what it was. Henionics. It's like when Henning makes up a word, like I just accidentally did with cognitivity. There's no such word as cognitivity, but I was looking at the word creativity and I wanted to say that, but I was still thinking about cognitive things and cognition and mixed the words in my brain with my mouth. All right. Some research suggests that rock music can promote creativity and problem-solving skills. Yes, a lot of research actually globally. There's a lot of research that shows not only that rock music, but any kind of music that you like, which can be affected by your parents and how you're raised and what kind of music you're allowed to listen to, can promote creativity. Not only that, it can help you retain memory and remember things. It is a fantastic way to get prepared for, say, let's say you're doing tests, exams at school. Listen to your favorite songs before you walk into that class. Walk in. Don't listen to the other classmates saying, today's test is going to be so hard. I don't know. Did you study? I didn't study. It's going to suck. Don't even talk to those people. Block them out with some happy, good music that is one of your favorites, like, right now. Dun, 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 right? Some Van Halen. Whatever makes your boat float. Makes you happy. Get those endorphins pumping at the beginning of your examination, and you'll be more ready for that test than ever, because if you don't do that, you're going to be stressing. And that does not help. Okay. Negative effects of live music on human beings and maybe even animals and plants, who knows. I hit that. I got to connect with the wire again. For a long while, I did not have this problem, but now it's happening again. All right. So I got distracted. Wear earbuds. I prefer the eargasms because they're not expensive and they are a dB cut, keeping all the range of sound equal. In other words, everything still sounds clear. You can hear people talking right next to you clearly. The sounds good and sounds clear, just like suddenly it's like a dB cut on the noise. And that to me is the best form of earplug, because it's not just plug in your ear like with like what you take to the gun range, you know, cuts a lot of the highs out and everything. It's like a Peanuts show, right? Okay, I think Alex just sent it to me. Thank you, Alex. I think it was, yeah, thanks. There it is. The Heavy Metal Matinee. I think it's because he sent it really early on and I couldn't find it. So from 1 to 6 today at Pine Street Bar, it's going to be Metal Matinee, heavy metal. Come on. I don't know why it doesn't do this well anymore, but yeah, there you go. So there we are, Memorex. Anyway, that's where I'm going to be today at 1 o'clock, setting up. I'm going to help set up and everything. Pine Street Bar, playing keyboards because there's too many guitarists and everything else, and I'm happy to play keyboards too. So you mean I do mean the erasers. You're right. Well, I was saying eargasms, right? That's another one that I have in the car. I have eargasms in the car. Erasers. Thank you, L&M, because he bought some too, right? Didn't you? They were like half off. They were like $35 or something like that, right? And we got stickers and all kinds of stuff. All right, what else? The Magician Doug Henning from Taxi. You guys are talking about Mary Lou Henning. Wagner Ride of the Valkyries should be the entrance theme of Memorex, right? Yeah, that would be a good one. I like that other one though. There's the one that goes da, 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 like what Ozzy enters on. And that came from the movie Excalibur, where, you know, they're riding on the horses, chopping each other up with swords. Isn't that a scene? The gymnast Mary Lou Retton. I remember her. She was on the Wheaties box when I was a kid. All right, Rock Daddy's in the house. What's up, Rock Daddy? Where you at? There you are. Yo, 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 yo. So 15 people here. I got to call it, you guys. I'll do another giveaway on Thursday, and I got to get those giveaway packages out, man. They're all right behind the curtain here. I swear to God, they're waiting for me to make the special little cards and then look up exactly what I was supposed to send to everyone who won something, and then you know, put some Sweetwater candy in there, some extra swag and all that. And I want to make it special, especially now that people have been waiting extra long. So whoever you are that won them, some of them you're here. I think Rock Daddy's even one of them, but yeah. I will do it. I'm going to do it. I think Monday might be the day. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh, there's that too. A reminder of this. Once more, the live stream. What time is it going to be on the western parts of the United States and the eastern parts too? I do have a link or two, or I might even add another few links to today's show, but look this stuff up yourselves, man. Go out and discover a little bit about this stuff. Definitely buy this guy's books, you know. He's probably one of the top people, and he is a musician, by the way, and he is not just a musician, but a producer, and he's a cool guy, man. Check out his videos on YouTube, you know. And watch some of his stuff talking about music as a form of healing. But live music especially, man, because you get so connected there with the people right then and there, you know. And I'm going again tonight. I can't stop. Yeah, I'm going to go tonight. I'm going to see Billy Idol tonight for the first time, doing an actual full set of their good old music from the 80s and whatnot, right? Late 70s and into the 80s and 80s and beyond, right? I saw him and Steve Stevens do uh, I don't know if you call it an a cappella thing, but it was an acoustic set where he just sang and Steve played the acoustic guitar, and it was amazing. And it was a free concert, and that was actually at Berkeley too. It was, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a, live 105, live 105 appreciation party, listener appreciation party ticket, where they had, I think, Garbage played, Love and Rockets closed it out. No Doubt in the early days played. It was great. Who else did they have? They had some other people. Now I'm getting a lot of bing bongs from the Memorex crew because they're all getting ready to let's get set up and get this show on the road, y'all, kind of thing. Secondary guitar for the Memorex set. You're welcome anytime. Blah, blah. I'm gonna say I'll be leaving shortly to help with load up and set up. ... Give me about 45 minutes to get to Joe's! Exclamation point. That should be good enough. That should be helpful, I hope. But yeah, I got to unload my van too of tools. So I got to get going. But I will have fun. Thank you very much. Who doesn't like Billy Idol? Come on, man. How does he do that? A sneer. How does he sing and do that at the same time? What a talent, man. That guy's love that guy. Do it. I know, doing it. It's all about doing it. I like to do too many things. That's my problem. Too many things. I want to do too much. That's what my wife says. You want to do too much. Too many things. She can hardly keep up with me. I make her nuts, but I love her to death. All right, here we go. I loved it as a kid. My parents would take us to Grant Park in Chicago to listen to symphony music. Yeah, see? Bingo, dude. I used to love symphonic music and listening to it on the records or other people playing it and live and playing it on the piano myself eventually, you know. Thanks, Carlos. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, y'all, please. I'm at 916 now for the last 2 years. Help me get to 1,000. Share this with your friends. Just tell them, look, you may not like this guy, but I do, and so trust me. So just go to YouTube. Here's a link. I'll send it to you. Just click on it and hit subscribe, and maybe listen to a show or two, and maybe you'll like this guy, you know. But help him grow, because he needs to get 1,000 by the end of this year, or his wife says you got to quit. I'm just kidding. She does not say that. If anything, she thinks I should take it more seriously and spend more time on it. But you know, there's only so much time, man. And if I'm going to do this, I got to make some money at it, because I can't not do the work. And, you know, California is expensive. and I do appreciate living here. And I feel bad that other people who aren't able to live in a place like where I'm living in, I'm asking them for money. That's why I have such a hard time with this, man. I have a hard time asking. If you want to, do it. You know, I've got the PayPal link up there. Help me out that way. Not crazy about the idea of supporting billionaires by doing the membership thing, because then you're going to be paying a percentage to them. I should set up Patreon sooner. I should do that first, right? And you can be a Patreon member, and I can try to get that going and do merch and do that first. That way you're getting something for your money, outside of this silliness that I'm doing right now, which I think is silly, but maybe it's not that silly. This is important, right? Is it? I think it is. I should take myself more seriously. This is serious. Help me out. Subscribe, share, like, hit the notification bell thing if it matters, and see my other, I'm on Instagram, on Facebook. I got a page on Facebook called Music Therapy Labs. I should do, you know, the Twitch thing more often and do more music there and stuff like that. That would be cool. Yeah, building guitars, building pedal. I got pedal builds to do. I've got music to write. I got people to see and places go and places play music and people to see playing music. Let's all connect on that, right? Until next time, you guys, be good, or be good at it. And as I like to often end the show with, especially this one, the secret to tone, okay, not even tone, the secret to life is music. And the secret to music is in your mind and in your heart. You put that together, with your friends and make some music and rock on. Until next time, you guys, you all rock. Love you all. It's not a rattlesnake. Dale at the end. You guys rock. Love you all, man.